After the heartbreak and tragedy of Silverstone, another tragedy has befallen us before we even start the episode. I've come to edit it and my audio is no more. So, in a format change for this episode only, I'm going to retrospectively commentate over everything that happened. So, before we get started, here's how the standings looked before we went to Germany. And at the halfway point of the season, Jacques Villeneuve is the man to beat. He's only dropped 18 points so far. Like, Schumacher is trying his best to keep up, but when you've got that level of consistency, it's always going to be hard. Speaking of consistency, that's what Heinz-Harald has got. He's not won any races this season. We've won 2. Yeah, guess who's third? Yeah, it's not us. In the Constructors, Williams, it's theirs to lose, 104 points, looking very dominant. Ferrari in a lonely second. We are still holding on to third ahead of Benetton, very much a fight we need to try and see out. I think that's the best we can do. In the meantime, Jordan and McLaren, they have a fight heating up for fifth. So, the second half of the season begins here in Hockenheim, Germany. Originally built in 1932, it was called Dreiecksgers at first, or Triangle Course, because, well, take a wild guess. Hockenheim first hosted the German Grand Prix in 1970 with what was essentially this layout, and that was because that year the drivers decided to boycott the Nürburgring, saying it was unsafe. Not sure this was exactly a safe haven itself, as just 2 years earlier Jim Clark had lost his life here in a Formula 2 race, but that just goes to show how dangerous the green hell was by comparison. Hockenheim returned to the calendar in 1977 and hosted the German Grand Prix with 7 exceptions in that time until 2019, and now today, incredibly, we don't even have a German Grand Prix, which is crazy. We are back after the pain of that result. I remember coming into this thinking, well, similarly again, we could do well at this circuit. It's a circuit that suits us. We've got lots of straight lines, lots of corners where we can flick through. Only a couple where there's the long sweeping ones where the AI seem to do well. But again, it all counts for nothing if the car doesn't hold together. I will come clean about something though before we get into it. When I say my audio is gone, what I usually do is I have my audio record to one channel and the game sound effects record to another. However, I accidentally clicked a button that recorded the game sound to both. So my audio is there, it's just being completely drowned out. Quick example. So yeah, actually, it's not really a tragedy. This one's me being a professional content creator. Still, the race is in the bag. That, at least, has saved correctly. So let's go through what happened. In the real-life 1997 German Grand Prix qualifying, we got a very mixed-up order compared to what we'd seen previously this season. So it was a pole for Gerhard Berger of Benetton, Benetton's first pole since Japan 1995. Giancarlo Fisichella was second, the best qualifying result of his career at that point. Hakkinen was third, and Schumacher was fourth, interestingly because he was running a higher downforce setup on a track that's 90% straights. I mean, I'm admittedly not an expert, but that seems like a weird decision. Villeneuve was down on power in his car, which is obviously very important on a circuit like this, so he switched to the spare. However, the spare was set up for Frentzen, so as a result, he was down in 9th. The Prost cars were a bit slower generally this weekend, so Trulli was 11th and Nakano down in 17th, but it definitely seemed like the gap between the teammates had very much been restored. So the target I set myself when recording was, well, Trulli was down in 11th. I really wanted to make amends for last time. I wanted to do well. I felt it was a wasted opportunity. Here I wanted to capitalise, so at least qualify in the top 6 so we could go and do something from there. In terms of what we were aiming for, the real life pole time was a 1 minute 41.8. However, in game, again, goes back to being much quicker, 1 minute 35 to 1 minute 36. So that's where we wanted to be if we wanted to be near the front. So instead of showing you the highlights of quali, which was kind of pointless if I'm going to commentate over it, I'm going to give you my one best lap. So we're on lap 10. I'm already in the 1 minute 35.6s. I'm about to start lap 11. So as you can see, the qualifying session going pretty well. I got into the zone. Here's the lap. So immediately I go quicker at the start of that one by just 300ths of a second. Into turn 1, the Nord curve, like cops. Get the line through, you can sweep through quite nicely. Then it's just a long run into the woods to the end of sector 1, and it brings us to our first of 3 chicanes, which is called Clark. So here comes the first sector, which will hit just as we come under this bridge. I think we're down Yeah, we end up being 4/10 down, but if I can ride the entrance and exit well, carry the speed through, again working off the very edge of the limits where it's only 2 wheels off the track, we can be okay. Up to the second chicane, the Ust curve. The entry is slightly obscured, just a little drop there on the apex. Make sure I clip the inside, and again, great line through there. Very easy to brake and go wide and just compromise line all the way through. If you get the chicanes right, you can then carry the speed all the way down these straights, and that's where you gain or conversely lose time. Up to the final chicane, which is Senna. Again, if you can get the angle right, you can just flip it through nicely. Very much pushing the limit of track limits on entry there, but I think we do okay. A little lift off on exit, and then it's the run down to the end of sector 2. Next corner, Ajip. Germany's answer to the bridge, old Silverstone bridge turn into the stadium section. Look at how much we've switched around, 5/10 up now after being 4/10 down. This is going to be the toughest section for us in the race because it's the longer sweeping corners the eye do well at. Through the stadium section, final one, Opel, where the runoff was 2019, where you saw all those cars go off. Done quite well there, and as we approach the line, a 135.030. That is at the very top, and immediately my excitement means I bottle it. And like I said, my audio wasn't destroyed, it was just kind of obscured under the game sound. However, when you get shown the starting grid, there isn't really any sound apart from Murray talking. So here was my reaction to where we ended up. This could be huge. Here we go. Starting grid for the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim on pole.
Welcome to the German Grand Prix. Due to start in just a few moments
Panis,
here at Hockenheim. Yeah, so you can't really hear much else after that. But yes, Panis from Villeneuve, then Irvine, Frentzen and Schumacher. Other notable entry, Damon Hill in 7th in the Arrows. Incredible result for him. So, second pole position of the season. So, in the real-life 1997 German Grand Prix, Gerhard Berger won from pole, an amazing result considering he'd missed the last 3 races due to recurring sinus issue. It was his 10th and final win in Formula 1, and also Benetton's final win. Oddly enough, Berger's first win in Formula 1 was also Benetton's first win at the 1986 Mexican Grand Prix. Fisichella looked like he might challenge for the win, but a puncture meant he fell away and then retired from a blown radiator on lap 40. Schumacher finished second in the end, Hakkinen third, and Trulli was fourth. Trulli just seemed to have good race pace, good reliability, and kept out of trouble, which he very nearly didn't, as when Jacques Villeneuve tried to overtake him at Clark, he ended up spinning out. Fortunately, Trulli avoided it, Villeneuve retired. And that race pace seemed to continue for both the Prosts, as Nakano was 7th, so close to his second point of the season. Now, while Trulli's 4th was a good target, I really wanted to make amends from Silverstone. I had the bit between my teeth, and I'm on pole, so I naturally said, target, win the German Grand Prix, accept nothing less. So I'm going to whack the Grand Prix on the screen in front of me, commentate over it, and here is our 1997 German Grand Prix. So I recorded this just over a week ago. I remember most of it, but probably forgot parts. The lights go on, and we're racing in Germany. As expected, we've been sluggish off the start, so we've lost the lead to Villeneuve, and Frentzen snuck up the inside as well. So just like Silverstone, it's a Williams 1-2, and we're looking to get after them. But immediately a big main straight, lots of slipstream, go wide. Don't want to cause any issues, so we're hoping to get round the outside of both of them. They're just on the inside, can't really see them in an awkward spot. We're about to sweep into Clark. One Williams drops out. Was that Villeneuve? I'm hoping it was Villeneuve. And we're through into the lead. A beautiful move to retake it. And that was textbook. Much more like it. So, immediately got to get these corners right. Erst was a real struggle in qualifying. I just always seem to get it wide. Very tentative through there, but I'd rather be tentative than go wide and lose a lot of time getting over the grass. So, very good start. What we found as well is Sector 2, this big middle sector with the straights and the chicanes, is where I gained all the time. Sector 3 was a bit of a struggle because of the corners that I mentioned. Sector 1 was also a struggle as well, even though it's got a sort of corner that I like and a decent straight, but we always seem to lose time there. So really, nailing those chicanes throughout Sector 2 would define how well we did. But what a great start. So instantly at this point, I'm going to be wanting to see who's behind me, what name it is, but also get into a good rhythm, and it is Villeneuve. So annoying, but look at the gap. We were 3.2 up at the end of Sector 2. By the end of Sector 3, he's taken it down to 2 seconds, so going to keep an eye on those times a lot throughout, but also be looking behind a lot. But there we go again, because terrified, absolutely terrified of the engine giving out when we're in a good position. It'll go up to us for the second time. Oh, a little bit twitchy, but a little bit quicker, so just ramp it up. That's what it's all about. Building up a decent gap so far, 3 seconds. Expecting to lose a little bit here again, and then hopefully leap forward in Sector 2. Oh, that was a bit dodgy. So I think here, yep, I leaved off the throttle a little bit there, because that wasn't borderline. That was a very much track limits corner cut, so I leave off a little bit. So I might lose a little bit of time this time around. It's probably a bit more of a serious one rather than the chaos of some of my other episodes. Probably because after, you know, things blowing up at Silverstone, after doing the GT3 license tests, after the mess that was Surfers Paradise in Newman Haas Racing, I've kind of maybe subconsciously wanted to prove that I can drive a little bit. Now, interestingly, the numbers disappear because I think Villeneuve has just dropped. So Villeneuve had dropped to 3rd, but of course he's replaced by Michael Schumacher. Don't know what's worse or better. Do we kind of be happy that Villeneuve's dropped so we can maybe reel him in, or do we accept that Villeneuve's gone and actually Schumacher's the one we want to catch because he's a bit more realistic? Dunno. Both are quite tough gaps to try and get on. The main thing is if I'm not going to win, I need to try and stay in the points. It's literally been win or nothing for the most part. It's only a couple of occasions where I've actually just finished in the points and done okay. I think Australia and Imola are the only ones I can think of. There we go. It's what happens. It's what happens when you miss your braking point at Erst. So immediately Schumacher's gotten past Villeneuve, is shutting the gap, and I'm making mistakes. It's actually nice to commentate without kind of feeling the pressure. I've got a brew. Schumacher is still cutting the gap down, but when we've got 2.9 and I could be gaining like 2 or 3 seconds in this middle sector if I do it right, we're building. We're going in the right direction. We're not going in the right direction when I do that though. It's less good. Oh, look at that prolonged stare behind the car. The paranoia was real. It really was. Tentative, and then the classic accidental look back, which other people who have F197, is that just a general thing with this game, or is that something to do with my remote? If I turn too tightly, I'd accidentally look backwards. Answers on a postcard. Or in the comments, that might be quicker, actually.
Race order. In first place, Olivier Panis. In second place, Michael Schumacher. In third, Williams #1. In fourth place, Damon Hill. Hang on. As he crosses the line, only 3 more laps left.
This filled me with joy.
Fifth place, Eddie Irvine. In 6th position, Mika Häkkinen.
So Frentzen had completely dropped out of the top 6, which is again great news for us if we're going to try and overtake him and get some space between us. But Damon Hill, who'd started 7th in the Arrows, which was a dog of the car for the start of the season, they managed to get it going a little bit later, and he was pretty heroic throughout that season. Amazing. In the points, 4th, and there are a couple of charity predictions involving Damon Hill. I can't remember what they were. I'll whack them on the screen now, so there might be a going concern. But clearly, the game being a little bit confused, because he had a great one at Hungary, not Hockenheim. Hey, why not both? Get Damon Hill in the mix, that would be lovely to see. I'll say one thing though I did find that made a huge difference was this. Having this on. I've started to use this for videos. Because as good as that other mic is, because it's sat there, I am kind of adjusting myself a little bit, so I'm slightly uncomfortable there. Much more relaxed. So I'm not going to say that I'm going to blame all my mistakes on the fact that I was hunched over a little bit, but I mean, I might do that. So as the rain starts to fall in Hockenheim, a perfect response to Silverstone. Got everything right. Another pole position, and on our way to the 3rd win of the season for Panis and Prost. Puts us back in 3rd, but more importantly, it gives us the perfect start to the second half of the season. So the question remains, are we bronze medal winners confirmed, or is there a title charge on the way?
He takes the chicken flag. What a superb race.
Oh, better. Oh, fun fact, because I wanted to try this headset with recording, I've been wearing this for the sound of the game, and then also wearing this, which is why I look insane. So look out for the old double headphones next time I record. Confirmation of the results. We finished 9.5 seconds ahead of Schumacher. Villeneuve 21 back. Amazing result for Hill. Hacken in 5th. And Frentzen in 6th. We get another fastest lap. This is what it does to the championship standings. Well, Villeneuve only dropped 18 in the first half. Well, he's dropped a handsome 6 already in the second half of the season. Schumacher closes the gap, but only slightly. It's 18 points. We retake 3rd as planned, but you know, we're still quite a way back. We've got 21 up to Schumacher, and I'm not even going to count the gap to Villeneuve because that's huge. The constructors, well, Williams still getting away pretty much unscathed, 109 points to Ferrari 72. Prost, yes, we now open up a very handsome gap over Benetton because actually neither of their drivers scored today, so we are now, 13 points clear of them. Very much needed that. Jordan haven't scored, McLaren have, the gap shutting to 5th. But remember this, Damon Hill's just got 4th. He scored 3 championship points. Arrows are literally right there. Next time we replay a classic Grand Prix, the 1997 Hungarian Grand Prix, where it was heartbreak for Hill. Can he go one better? I mean, I'd be happy for him to take 2nd again, as long as he's behind us. The main thing really though is, can we just be consistent? Stop this all or nothing, where it's just win. Absolute failure. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you didn't mind this slightly altered version because of my stupidity, but normal service will be resumed next time. As ever, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. It means so much to me, and I'll see you again soon.